Well, hello. Today's movie is a 2012 Argo. November 1979, Iranians storm the U.S. Embassy and take the Americans hostage in retaliation for giving the deposed Shah asylum. Six of the employees manage to escape and find shelter at the residence of the Canadian ambassador. Tony Mendez, a CIA exfiltration specialist, comes up with a plan while watching a movie with his son. They will pose as Canadian filmmakers scouting for a location for a sci-fi film. He contacts John Chambers, a makeup artist that has done work for the CIA. This leads to a meeting with a producer, and they agrees to help set up a fake production company for this operation. Mendez then goes to Tehran and brings Canadian passports and will teach the employees about their roles. Only the government at the last minute decides to call off the mission. Mendez decides to go ahead with it anyway. A frantic effort ensues to get President Carter to approve the mission. They manage to get on the plane and take off before the Revolutionary Guard can catch them. To protect the remaining hostages, the Canadian government is given full credit. Mendez gets a medal in secret. So this movie was based on the real life event that happened during the takeover of the embassy in Tehran in 1979. It was based on memoirs of Tony Mendez called The Master of Disguise. And it definitely was a big success. It made like 232 million on a 44 million budget. The movie got 7 Academy Award nominations and won for 3, including Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Editing. And the film was filmed mostly in Los Angeles, with some at the actual CIA headquarters, and Istanbul. And now this was actually based on a real life historical event. I remember the time I was like in 6th grade or something when they took over the embassy. I remember there was a lot of anger and stuff, and I also think that this is a time that America was really humiliated by Iran, which I think is still affecting our relations with that country. We still don't have any diplomatic relations at all, even though it's been over 40 years. And that has some really lasting effect. And I'm kind of interested about this because I remember too that there was these employees that got smuggled out by Canada, and at the time it was all done by Canada. And I remember there was even a movie came out, soon after that, like a made-for-TV movie about the event, the Canadian Caper. And I kind of remember it was kind of interesting. I think it was done more. It would probably focus mostly on the point of view of the employees that were escaping. I think it was a good movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Some interesting. I think this movie was like Ben Affleck's first directorial debut, and he proved himself to be a pretty decent director. I was quite surprised by this. I think a lot of people were. I think he's gone on to do some better stuff, some more stuff that's good. I haven't seen it, and there's obviously some inaccuracies in this movie. It was done basically to gin up some conflict and tension in that. It wasn't really canceled. It was just kind of delayed. And they're, the scene at the airport, that didn't happen. They never really had this, last minute possibility of getting captured. And there's some minor little stuff like the sign that they showed was burnt, was actually repaired by 1980 when this was supposed to have taken place. But I think it's quite an interesting movie because I never really knew about this until this movie came out. Obviously, because I guess it was declassified in 1997 by Bill Clinton's, but I never heard of it until this movie, and I'm quite intrigued by it. I mean, it's a good movie. Roger Ebert. It was what made it was his best movie for the year, and that was his last time he ever proclaimed that before he died. And it's I think it has a lot of fun humor, a lot of satire about Hollywood because they're only someone from that industry could be so lacking in self-consciousness to go and try and film a movie in a country that has a violent revolution, and the whole idea that someone could just come on in and throw around their weight with some money and act like it would just fit right in. There was a lot of good fun humor. Some interesting stuff is that the production company they created actually fooled people. They were getting like 26 scripts submitted to them, even one by Steven Spielberg. And also another one that there was no producer. That the Alan Arkin character didn't happen. I guess he was based on Jack Warner. But he added some really fun dimension to this movie. And I think it's it's just a real good movie. It shines some light on what was happening at that time. I think they did real spot on with getting the era right. It does definitely feel like 1979, 1980. And I think this is a really good movie. I have a real high recommendation for this. And if you stuck with me this long, I thank you. You're a unique individual.